This is RPMMORadio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about roleplay and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job.
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Sibh'Bae, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Greetings and welcome, role players. This is RPMMORadio, episode 37. Das Lore Nazi, Ich Vis Alice. Which, if you don't know what that means, you can Google it. That's what I had to do. I don't actually speak like a German, other than Wiener Schnitzel. So, appreciate everybody tuning in here every Saturday at 7 Central Time at RPMM, or twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Yeah, let's get the order of that right. And of course, with me, as always, is most of the crew, the Jazz, the Sib, and the Sibh'Bae.
Oi!
Oi! Greetings, Herr Ashen, wie geht's?
Something gate. Kishmas will
Somebody
be
speak.
around in a little while because
Guten Tag.
his work
No.
hates him and doesn't want him to have fun things in his life.
Okay, can I go?
Yeah. And
Sort
of
of.
course, this is an appropriate episode being the day before Easter, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Easter because, frankly, I couldn't think of anything funny to tie in Easter with. Zombies, I guess? I don't know. That's about all I could come up with that seems slightly inappropriate.
Zombie eggs, bro.
That's right.
That's
with
so
that.
inappropriate, but very funny.
So, well, thanks everybody again for tuning in. It's going to be an interesting episode. I mean, yeah, when isn't a fun episode when you're talking about Nazis? I mean, they're just awful. I mean, just
Yeah.
awful. They're just really, 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 really awful. Especially lore Nazis. But I want to give out, of course, a special thanks to all our Patreon donors over at patreon.com/RPMMORadio. Of course, the usual to That Guy Laza and A Truth Bob. There are others, but they're at the raid tier level, and they get their names proudly pronounced every time.
We're clapping.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't. The clapping scares them. They startle easily. That's something that Patreon warns people about. Anybody that donates money is usually easily startled. They don't really know the connection, but
They're like, oh, I just give money.
I gaves money. And of course, at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio, you give us a follow. That'll let you know, of course, whenever we stream and go live every weekend. If you have a Twitch, or not Twitch, but a Amazon Prime account, you get a Twitch Prime subscription. You could, of course, throw that our way. Yeah, everybody does. Do you not? You don't. I've said that multiple times. You don't even listen to the show, do you?
I haven't.
You have no idea what's going on.
I did not know that. Somehow
Yes.
that did not sink in until just now. I was like, wait, I have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, if you've anybody with
Wait.
Amazon Prime, that thing where when you order stuff, it gets sent to you without you charging.
Yeah,
that.
my favorite thing in the whole world.
Right. You and like everybody else in the country. I know I deliver your shit. And guiltily I also utilize it all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anybody with a Twitch Prime, because our Amazon Prime, Amazon owns Twitch now. They bought them out for, I don't know, umpteen $1 million a few years ago. So if you get a Twitch or Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch subscription, which is about $4.99, and you can throw that at us, and we get a chunk of it. And they don't really get a chunk because it comes with it, so I guess they just keep half of it, which is kind of a strange
chunk.
thing.
Okay.
But hey, it helps keep the show going, and will help us keep the equipment fresh, because sooner or later something's gonna break.
I'm going to have a new computer soon.
Oh, you are. That's
Woohoo.
right. I remember that. Unfortunately, your
Just-
internet connection's still gonna be garbage, so it's not
I
gonna
know.
make a difference.
It's not going to help me that much.
You're still gonna
But
be on
it'll
that
look pretty.
56 baud, right?
Yeah, well,
She's
it feels
gonna
like
enjoy
it.
looking at it, damn it.
Yeah.
Well,
Pretty
actually,
pretty.
we're working on an agreement with our current providers to possibly get a T1, the new T1s. So
Oh,
that would be nice.
Strafe. T1. Next step is the T1000, and then Skynet.
Yep.
It's all downhill from here. This is how
I'll
the
be with
world
you.
ends.
I'll be with you, General Ashen, at the end.
That's right. Humanity is really not worth fighting for right now. I mean, did you see the last several elections around the world? Let's just let the machines try. Yay!
Probably not wrong, honestly.
I mean,
We're not
humanity
back 1,000.
first. I'm willing to let my machine overlords give it a shot at this point. I mean, if they make things make a lot more sense, then I'm good with it. I'm all right at this point. As long as they let me have my video games, I'm willing to be the Romans and let video games be my Colosseum.
There's an episode of Star Trek original series where these machine androids want to take everybody over, take care of them, and keep them suppressed so they can't rule the galaxy. I said what Jim Kirk says. No thanks, bro. You're going down.
Oh, yeah, but see, Captain Picard is better, so who cares what Kirk says?
The ladies disagree.
What, you guys are more of a
No.
more of a
I'm
Cisco?
saying the ladies loved Kirk.
Well, you got to have the
Oh.
cowboy before you can get to the diplomat, which is
That's
Picard.
right. Well, what about Cisco? I mean,
Cisco's too emo.
Yeah, he's a little emo to be a cowboy.
everyone's like, yeah, he was all right.
Picard
all
was
right.
more of a cowboy. Actually, Riker was more of a
Riker
cowboy.
was
Yeah,
their
Riker
cowboy.
was the
Riker was the
cowboy.
cowboy.
Yeah.
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 I love
And
that.
I only watched DS9 for Quark and his brother because they look like two
Oh,
trolls from Enfield
man, I
Swamp.
love
I
Riker
love
stance.
those two. That was so...
Get that out of my head now.
the Ferengi.
Yep, they were
Love it when the
hilarious.
ladies love-
Yes.
Nothing like a good lobe rubbing, am I right, Strafe? That's
You
right.
know, nobody ever figured that out about Gormo, but yeah.
Now,
Oh my god, that
I'm
was
not-
so funny.
she was just helping release my second chakra. Thank you, Al Gore, for showing up. That was creepy. Don't talk ever again. I think that vice president's lonely. Sorry, South Park now. I also want to throw out a special thanks. She's liked a lot of our episodes. Someone named Sharisa Afropunk. She's liked literally every episode. It looks like that she's listened to on our WordPress. So thank you. That's awesome. I see
Thank you,
it gives me a special
Sharisa.
email, and it always pops up with your picture and your face right there. It's very nice.
Aw.
But I appreciate it. And I wanted to give
Yes.
if you're listening to this, special shout out to you because you rock. And of course, to everybody. We appreciate everybody that listens to. God
Except for
knows
that-
why you do.
Except for that one guy. You know that one guy. We know.
The smiling sorcerer who's waiting on
No,
hold.
no.
That's just
The one
rude.
guy. That one guy. You know that one guy. Don't
Kishmas?
remember him.
Jazz? Strafe?
What? What?
I think she
I'm
infers
playing.
the first troll.
I'm
That guy?
playing.
Alice? Oh,
I
I know.
give up.
It's that Sib chick. She's the worst.
That's Sibius.
Yeah.
Oh.
We love Sibius.
I wasn't even invited to the party, okay?
She's insidious.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's
So.
just bad.
Right?
That was so
I can't believe that was your dad joke of the episode. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So,
Amphibious.
and of course, we are a podcast, even though we do it live. For whatever reason, we thought it would be also a good idea to make it a podcast. So you can get there through Apple Podcasts, Google Plays, one of their apps, Stitcher, Podbeam. As I just said, WordPress, though. There's only so many episodes there because I'm not willing to actually pay them money. But, it throws up 4 or 5 episodes and then cycles the newest ones out and the oldest ones, or newest ones in and the oldest ones out. So, but yep, that's awesome. It's been going really well, and we can't do that without all of you. Seriously, I mean, even it blows me away. We're still month over month. Other than December, but that is the December lull is what I'm blaming that on.
We rock, bro. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
that
I
hard.
think we discussed that too at some
Mhm.
point.
Yeah,
December lull.
it was in the episode like right before I think somewhere in December. Like, all right, Roleplay's gonna start cutting out for you newbies. It's okay. Funny enough, apparently that translates into podcasting too. Who knew? I do. I do now. So let's see. Without further ado, what have we doing in Roleplay this week? I'm gonna pick on Jazz again because I frankly I just like
Jazz.
picking on her. I think she's just gonna be
Yeah.
number one every single time because
Yeah.
she can handle the pressure. You know why? She's a strong, independent woman that may or may not be wearing pants right now.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm just
Totally
trying to
get
bring
it.
in the sex appeal to it. Yeah, everybody, sex appeal and
Thanks.
everything. So she may be doing the entire thing in the nude. I'm not
And
what to
she may
say.
have red hair. I'm not going to confirm or deny it.
And she also may
that
have
I do
tried to
have
give
right there.
herself some sort of what's the thing where you're wet and you get really cold? Pneumonia. Yeah, she tried to give herself that earlier too.
Yes, she did. It's
The-
freaking cold in
The
my
thing
house.
when you get wet and really cold. Boy, I should have been a doctor, right? Yeah, you've got that. Hold on. It says here your test results came back. Your white celly things are high. It seems you have that. Oh, what's the word? That thing. It riddles your body. Slowly kills you. We have to use radiation. It'll come to me later. But you have that.
Oh, gosh, that's so bad.
I should have been a doctor.
No, you shouldn't.
Are you sure?
Anyway, let's let Jazz tell her stories.
Okay,
Alright.
let's see. Well, my life has been taking a lot of very sharp right turns, and left ones too, for that matter. So
You're zigzagging.
I was zigzagging all over the place. So it's nice to come into game and just relax and role play. Let's see. Thursday we had some fun RP. During the week I had some fun RP on Sully and then on CL, meeting some new people who came to our Telvanni roleplay last night, which was interesting. It's always nice to meet new people in Riften, and then they come and join us in our roleplay events. Helps grow the guild, which is always fun. And last night we had that ever elusive moment where you can have incredible drama without OOC drama. So we had some
I don't believe it.
I know, right? It was awesome.
Impossible.
We had conflict RP with no drama. I was bracing for it the whole time, and we didn't have any. I was really pleased. So my character Sully is a Telvanni, and as you know, they are fraught with that sort of thing. And she got in someone's face. And last time, you remember, I had said that she tried to cut someone's head off.
Yes, I do.
Well, that kind of cropped up again this week. And this week, she got the guy demoted. And then she confronted the boss of that guy again. So it was a very confrontational night, and it was a lot of fun. I don't get to do that as much as I used to because people can't do it anymore. They just get all silly, butthurt, and angry and take it personally, and so you just can't do it anymore. You have to be so careful, and it takes all the fun out of it. So this was a lot of fun last night. I was in a really good mood, despite having to go to the ER later on that night. So, woohoo!
That's good.
Now you can't. It was okay, by the way. Everything was fine.
Oh, yes. No.
Yeah, you
It's
can just throw
all-
that. Oh, and by the way, after that, I went to the ER. I mean, someone may or may
I
not have
didn't go
died
to the-
horribly,
No.
but we're fine.
No, we just had to go make sure that my kid was okay. My kid is okay. It was just us being careful because his
Which
blood
is-
sugar got a little high, and everything's fine. It was just one of those moments where you're just like, really? Really?
And by a little high, she means he actually could have shot straight to the moon.
Yeah,
on
it
his
was
own
it was
power.
disgustingly high. I was shocked. I never even thought it was possible for my 15-year-old to have blood sugar issues. So it was a bit out of the left field.
Mm.
But all handled, and we're handling it. So
So he's all right.
Good.
yeah,
He's
he's
good.
okay. The doctor
Okay,
said his A1C was fine. He does not have diabetes at this point. It was probably
Just
just a
an
fluke. It
Anomaly.
runs in our family. It runs in our family to have really high blood sugar. It's called reactive hypoglycemia.
Who would have
and
thought
was-
your family was filled
I
with
know, right?
flukes?
I know. So it went really high, and then it dropped like a rock. And
That's good.
so they're like, it's not healthy to do that. So he needs to be more responsible. No more binging. I'm like, he is a teenager. This is going to be a challenge. But
Yeah. Keep him
he
off
now
those,
got scared.
keep
So
him off those damn energy drinks. Trust me. They,
oh no, he doesn't. Yeah, those.
They mess up your insides.
Yeah.
It's a story I'm not going into. But all right. So how about you, Straffe? What you got?
So this week, I got a little more development with my main Trithalis. I ran into the crew. We had a light RP, kind of developed somewhat
Yes.
relationship RP. Not too
That was
much,
fun.
though. Some skullduggery happened when the twin brothers showed up out of nowhere and left mementos for his niece. So everyone's on high alert. On Rufus, I went on a mission with Caves, and we did some skullduggery. We may or may not have burned down a windmill full of civilians to send a message to someone. Rufus will tell no one. He was paid well. Then he showed up to the Telvanni deal. found out from the person employing him, which is Sully, which is Jazz's tune, that his life was in danger there of being thrown away for nothing. And Rufus said, well, this one did not want to be here in any event, so I think it's time to hang up the hood and the staff and go my merry way. And so he did.
And then Sully told everyone,
Drop
by the way,
mic.
he was working for me. He was working for me. Don't worry about it. Sexy.
So it was a big ruse,
Yes.
and it created a lot of drama. People were cool OC. It was really fun. So I had a
It
lot
was.
of stuff going on this week.
Yeah. And that's definitely drama. Drama is the heart of roleplay. In character drama is the heart of roleplay.
Yeah.
Out of
Yeah.
character
Sadly,
drama.
so is OOC drama, but we don't like that part.
OOC drama is the stuff that makes me want to hate people and hate them hard.
I'm also trying to fill out the app so I can get my Dunmer into Servants of the Tribunal.
Well, it's not made by Jazz, so it should only be 5 or 6 questions.
Yeah, I read
True.
it, and it's a big rule page. I'm reading the rule page. It's not as long
Oh,
as
yeah.
Jazz.
Yeah, they do have, like, for the
I'm so
ordination,
proud.
that is very long, but you can kind of go over that after you're in character in there, and
Well, I'm
everybody learns that as they go.
I've
That
been
one's rough.
brainwashed by the lady with red hair
Mhm.
when it comes to freaking endless forum posts of rules.
Have to.
This
fill
one's
out
only
the
one page. I'm
forms.
surprised it's not 5, so I'm going
Yeah,
to go through it.
it's a lot easier to do that. Yeah. Speaking
But
of,
yeah, it was
she's-
a busy week. It was fun, and I got a lot of role play. So yeah, I guess it's Sibby's turn.
Yep. What's up, Sibby?
Let's see. I know I did ordinator training on Monday,
Okay,
which
was that the 2 giants, by the way? I was trying
that
to
was the
remember.
Giants.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I remember.
they
now.
ported in some Giants, and it was funny because me and Roman did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
We ran up the same giant at that.
They Legolased it.
Yeah, and I choked him, and he smashed his head. So that was a lot of fun. And then let's see. I know I did Guild Night on Alano
Yep.
on Thursday, and I sparred with Caves
That was fun.
on Vuli. Yeah, she got her butt handed to her. I mean, seriously, he in the while
She
we were
couldn't
sparring-
roll good to save her life.
No, I
It was
could
hilarious.
not. And I actually rolled a 3 on like the last hit, and he rolled a 19.
Ouch.
So he emoted when she rushed him. He sidestepped and wrapped his arm around her neck. And I emoted that when he did that, she slammed hard back against his chest, knocked all the air out of her. And she just was like, ugh, and she's like instantly tapping out, like, let go, let go, let go. And then he just lets her go, and she drops to the ground.
And then there
But
was a
it was-
voice from above that said, "Finish her."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. That whole day when we decided to do that, me and him had been posting Mortal Kombat soundtracks in Discord. And so I had a lot of fun with that. Caves
That's
was,
my baby.
yeah, it
I'm
was,
so proud of her.
he's really been working with me on the sparring. So
He
I
has,
can
and
do,
you're doing really well.
and I have really had a lot of fun with it. So I really appreciate it, Caves.
Which
Shout
is
out
funny
to Caves.
because I've tried to get her to do it forever, but because I'm, me, I guess I wasn't good enough to spar with.
I don't know what it is, but he makes it easy. He doesn't make it. And the thing is, his character is a badass, and most of the time, his character just whoops my poor Voli all over the place. But it's been a lot of fun. And then, what else? Oh, I went also with Rufus and Caves to the event last night, and yeah, Voli kind of walked away. Caves is like her mentor, so she would never go against him. But she kind of walked away. She's like, he's like, you can stay and watch as we finish everything, or you can go on and go. And she's like, I'm just gonna walk away.
I don't want to be here for that.
Yeah, she's got, there was women and children, and so she's like, I don't want to see this. So she left. But she was okay with killing the guys, but it was different whenever it came down to the other people. So I don't
Yeah.
really know what happened. I'll have to RP that out with Caves at some point and see what,
Yeah.
ask him in game what
Get the
what
after
actually
action
happened.
report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was a lot of fun. A really good week.
I did stuff, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. It's old age. Yeah. No. I remember the training with the Giants. That was a lot of fun. And there was another thing too, and I'll be damned if
Are
I
you
can remember
sure?
it. Oh,
sure?
wasn't it that? I remember it now. I remember now because you didn't go to it because you went to
No,
the
it was
thing
the
with
mud
them.
fight.
Yeah. Well, there was no actual mud. That was those stupid mud balls. By the way, video games, MMOs, can you not give people things that they can throw at other people just to be a complete asshole?
Please stop.
Or
doing
give
that.
us an
Yes.
option so that it doesn't make us emote without our permission. Thank you. Just offhanded.
I will say, I trolled a troll. Jazz was a witness.
It
He
was.
wasted all his mud balls on me, and I still sat there drinking wine like nothing was happening.
Oh, he was so
So bad.
angry. It was
Hands to my head.
hilarious.
Jazz, you can tell him what happened next, but yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh no, he was so angry he just couldn't see. You could tell he was furious, and then he just lost his mind because
Troll the troll, achievement
Yeah.
unlocked.
They're
Yeah.
not that hard, really. There's a few of
No.
them. There's a few professionals. Those two or three that go around to everything. Those guys, nothing phases them. Doesn't seem to. Even being banned from the game temporarily doesn't seem to phase them. Or
No,
stop
it
them from
doesn't
doing
phase
it.
them. They just wait and then come back. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Which give them a permanent IP ban. I'm just saying.
Ain't never gonna happen.
But
Never.
no, it was like a pilgrimage walk, and on the side of the road there was a woman crying, and everybody stopped to see how she was. And of course, one of those things in roleplay, it cracks me up, is like typically if you're walking down the street and you see someone crying, your first thing isn't to pull a gun or a blade on them, but in roleplay, everyone's like, do you need help? Like at the point of a sword. It's one of those things that always cracks me up because you're in an event, and of course you're always expecting. You can't help but not let that OOC part where something bad's happening, so you're always just on the edge for it.
Yep.
It's just one of those things, but it was kind of funny to watch. But it turned out that someone tried. They were trying to communicate, and I had pushed a little magic into her, Torvald's voice, and when she did that, the thing screamed and vanished, so it turned out to be a ghost. So they tried to then track it down to a tomb, and it turned out someone had violated her ancestral tomb and her family's, so that she was distraught because now, of course, with that happening, she couldn't find their spirits. It turned out to be vampires. Not sure why the vampires were messing with it. They typically can't drink the blood of ashes, but that's neither here nor there. Then they attacked. Tarvala got slammed to the ground and had her armor crushed around her, kind of like in a tin can. So she was having
Ouch.
fun.
I hope somebody had a sardine key.
Yeah, they pretty much. Yeah, she's like, I think I'm gonna need an armor smith to get me out of this thing. But the rolls were not in favor of the DM, so it was I think like a round and a half, and they were like in the wind, But it was a lot of fun. It's just I didn't have a lot going on this week. I just kind of was bouncing around and playing some other stuff as well. So, but that
Does
was
sound pretty fun though.
Yeah, it was. They do that stuff all the time, and it's really really cool to have someone DM little events. They're usually an hour, 2 hours long, and there was a couple other things during the week. I didn't go to all of them. There was a sermon last night, I think, and something else the night before. There was somebody's. They've always got somebody either being promoted, or either if it's in the clergy, they have to do a pilgrimage to one of the shrines, that kind of thing. If you're ESO, and I know a lot of other games out there, it's just those. Yeah. Those are always fun, those events. I need to remember to check out that stupid Shroud of the Avatar again. Doggone it. I need to try to play that again. So, but that was kind of what I did. I didn't have a whole lot. Didn't have an amazing story. You guys had definitely a lot more going on, but I was listening it vicariously through Sib, who of course is just sitting right behind me. So I felt like in spirit, I was part of
And
it.
now I'm excited about next week's show because I know on my ordinator knife, I get to do my trial of mystery with 2 other characters this Sunday, and I'm like so excited.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
her
can't
promotion
wait.
to full ordinator.
Yeah. No, don't I have one more trial after that?
No, Well, I mean, that's like the Trial of Mystery. No, there might
No,
be
I got Trial of Mastery.
the Trial of Mastery, but that's like this is the big step, like
Oh,
you know,
okay.
because you're always
no, I
doing it
am
with other people.
really excited. Wait a minute, that sounded bad.
I didn't say it.
I'm
can you make
super
things
excited
sound
to
bad?
do it with 3 other people.
Okay, you're just making it bad now. Stop it.
Hey, I'm just repeating what you said.
I was excited. Now I'm not excited.
Oh
Thanks,
no, it's actually
Ashley.
you're gonna have a ton of fun. They've got several of those little scenarios that they do, and they're very intricate and well thought out, and they've got multiple ways they can be completed. So they're always very, very entertaining.
Well, I'm very excited about it because
Yeah.
I've not done anything like this.
Yeah, you'll have a good story for next week. I still don't know what we're gonna do for a topic next week. I know.
Spin the bottle. Spin the bottle for a topic.
We're gonna play Spin the Bottle in the chat, and everybody has to kiss out and make out with one another.
We could talk about Ready Player One. Cough, cough.
Somebody's already seen that. I think we might have to wait for more than a week, though, to give people
Fair
like
enough.
2 weeks, and we might do a spoiler episode on that because we've read the books, and I know you haven't, and I know we're seeing it tomorrow at noon. And we're talking about this because Ready Player One is the nerdiest, nerdtastic, nerdgasm of nerdom going on right now. It's
Yes, it
seriously,
was.
it's got so many video game and pop culture references. Even I won't get most of them, and I'm really good at that stuff. But
I think you'll.
you didn't read the books, did you, Strafe?
I haven't read them yet, but I
Okay,
will now.
yeah, you totally need to. Because I know,
Yeah.
I can tell just by that because, obviously in book form, like, there's no copyright issues.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that happen in the books that I know it's just impossible, that they can't do that, in a movie because they can't get the licensing for things from Gundam and all the different, like 50 different anime things from the 80s and all that stuff. Or Macross, I think, was in it.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say nothing. You're gonna be happy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I know they got a lot, so, but I mean, shit, just the Back to the Future car was really enough for me from the trailers. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, we might do a spoiler episode on talking about that, just because it's fun, and why not? If enough people have seen it in 2 weeks, so
Yeah.
But for next week, I don't know. We're going to talk about it after the show. Or if you have a suggestion, there was actually one from, was it about the drama that, Jay the Exile, dealing with drama, doing the dramas. So maybe we'll do drama next week. Because that's always, there's so many aspects to different kinds of drama on that. Oof, man. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Here we're talking about Nazis. Of the
Lore
lore
Nazis.
kind.
Lord Nazis.
That's right. So before we get into that, of course, we'll go ahead and do a word from our sponsor. This week on 2030, we go deep undercover to a secret lore Nazi re-education center. Our hidden cameras go where no one has gone before, with great personal risks to our undercover reporter. Now, for the first time, we will see these monsters function and work. Here is a sneak preview. All of you know why you are here. You have been found guilty of being creative, of being original, and worst of all, not conforming to the way we think. There are certain rules, certain stories, from the official game, from the forums, and anything the read writer has spoken of on his personal blog that I read daily. You are all responsible for knowing all of this. Now, in the course of this, shall we say, retrading, you will learn the ways to properly know every piece of lore. How nothing can be stretched, how nothing can be expanded, or how nothing can be made to be fun. It will not be allowed. I will teach you how to make others feel small and insignificant. That because they do not have the time or the willingness to learn, that they are inferior. Chilling. Truly chilling. Now join us this weekend at 9 Eastern as we go into the world of lonely, sad, self-righteous nerds known as lore Nazis. Viewer discretion is advised.
I love it. I'm going to be there for that.
That's hilarious.
See, and Sib was worried that doing something with Nazis would be really hard and insensitive.
I was a little worried.
Well, we do know you, so.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's...
I think we've all experienced that kind of nerd.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have.
Oh, yeah. And,
None shall pass.
Yeah.
You're not allowed.
Actually, go fuck yourself. How's that? How's that? So, going into what... Let's see if we can all agree on a definition of a lore Nazi. I wrote down what I see. Tell me if you agree or if you need to add to it. I got here. What is a lore Nazi? It's someone that knows the lore and mythos of the gaming world to such a point there's practically nothing they don't know, but uses that knowledge. There's not even a Y in that. I don't know why I said that. But uses that knowledge as a bludgeon to beat over the heads of those that know less. Instead of helping them in a kind and proper way, they just use it as a cudgel. Is that good?
That's perfect.
Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Or do we need to add anything to it? Take something away? We're all good?
No, I
totally
really
agree.
like the way you put that, because it's not about knowing the lore. It's about beating someone over the head with it and not allowing them. There's a line, but yeah.
It's a classic example of those that with someone without power, suddenly getting power and then flexing it to the full degree. And yes, I agree with your terms.
Okay. You agree to the terms that I have forthwith given. Excellent. Now we can succeed. But yes, like say for Elder Scrolls or World of Warcraft, I wouldn't know. I know the lore of Elder Scrolls a little better. At least I've played some of it. I know a lot of the main like points. Like EverQuest though, or say Star Wars. Even before the the legacy, the legends and the books were undone, but even still to what is out now, I know that shit really, really well. I can probably fly circles around most people, but I don't need to beat them over the head with it, Yeah. Like in EverQuest 2, as an example, there was 2 things that happened that were massive, and people always fucked it up, and it was super easy to do. There was a thing called the rending, which is about, I'm a little old now. I think it had been 150 years before the game had started. And that's what massive earthquake thing that shattered the world and took the main continents and broke them into separate islands and things like that. And then 15 years before the game started was the shattering, which was when the moon of Luckland that had been hidden exploded for no reason that I don't know if the game's even explained it as of
They never
yet.
know. They just said that it was something that was done.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows what happened.
I mean, I knew I still remember the lore that there was a couple stories that came out before the game happened where there was a place on Luckland called the Nexus, and before it had vanished, there were reports that some fiery, I think they were thinking it was Sulisk Row, or some fiery demon things had come out of the portals and were basically cutting everything off. Of course, back on Norath, all they saw was the veil because it was hidden behind a magical barrier. Veil disappeared and the moon shone, and then a flash of light and it Death Starred, up in the sky. People got those. There were 2 complete, one's 15, one's 150 years ago. So right there, you kind of got an easy way. One's called the rending, one's called the shattering. They were super easy, and people are always getting them reversed. And I was always having to remind people, and especially in stories, like, I think you mean this, because, and they get, no, this is definitely, I'm like, trust me, I can send you a link with a timeline, and this is I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to help you get your character straightened out. As opposed to, what are you, stupid? The rending was 150 years ago. The shattering was 15. Are you retarded? What's wrong with you?
Right.
Get your shit right, you know? You're ruining my immersion.
I got an out of non-MMO example of that. I was DMing Forgotten Realms. I think it was edition 3. And I had this guy, he was such an uber nerd. He was arguing with another player because he knew it so well. He was paying no attention to the DM about these little small, minute details. And I finally shut the game down because he just would not stop arguing. I was like, hey, dude, we're here to have fun. I can allow him to bend to little things if it keeps the fun going. He wasn't having it, and so I had to shut the game down. So that's a lore Nazi in pen and paper, but they're the same thing.
It's the same thing because you're spending so much time, in that case, same thing, out of character, arguing the finer, the minutia in, you know, the splitting of hairs that.
And he would rather wreck friendships instead of just. Yeah, he'd rather wreck the friendships instead of just having a good time. And I was like, dude, no, we're done.
Yeah, that's why I don't play Monopoly with people. It wrecks friendships. For a completely different reason, but Monopoly is definitely a friendship killer.
Yeah, it can be.
So yeah, there's just so many ways that you can use your knowledge for the good and benefit of mankind, and then there's an equal number of ways that you can use it to destroy people. And before we go into those ways, we'll go ahead and go to our phone lines here and bring on the Smiling Sorcerer. How's it going, Smiling Sorcerer?
Hey, good, you guys. How about yourselves?
Not too shabby.
Hello.
How you
Good to
doing,
see you
man?
smiling.
Yeah.
Good. So what you got?
Well, first off, I didn't know what the heck was happening. I was watching the stream, and then I saw something go off on my dual screen. I was like, wait, what happened? Did I screw something up? And then I noticed that you stole me and dropped me down.
Yep.
So now that I know what's going on, I'm fine. I'm not scared anymore.
That's why I do it a little early so that you have time to be like, oh!
Wait, what happened? Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
But yes. So yeah, I have 2 World of Warcraft stories. One's short, one's not short, but not super long. So I'll start with the more sort of Nazi-ish one, I guess.
Yes, I will allow you to proceed.
Yes, thank you. I don't know the male word for the German man, but I'm going to call you Fraulein because it's the only German word I know.
Sir Fraulein.
Yeah, Sir Fraulein. So
I hope it's big turd, but
It would be hair ashen.
Oh yeah, hair. There you go. Hair ashen.
off of a little tangent, back in high school, I was reading Romeo and Juliet, and I read the Cliff Notes because I didn't know how to read Romeo and Juliet with an old English. Turned out, Juliet called Romeo a dirty dish rag in English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep. he curses like crazy throughout all of his plays. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
He's just very clever about it.
But going back full circle now, so I recently got back into World of Warcraft a couple months back because it's one of the biggest games and there's more social opportunity there.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got back into the game, one of the races that I never got to play before quitting the first time was a Draenei. And I don't know if any of you know what they are, but they're essentially these giant blue goat-like creatures with squid faces.
Lovely.
And I know. I think these the squid guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. Combine him with a body type of those blue creatures from the Avatar movie, and then put hooves on their feet.
Oh, I've seen those guys, yeah.
Weren't they in the Blood Elf campaign on the last X-Pack for Warcraft 3? Like when you go to the other realm and you're doing the Blood Elf thing and the Draenei show up?
I think so, yeah. I didn't follow the PC games. I've only followed the MMO.
Yeah, I'm getting
never
old, so I
played any of them. I'm going to agree with that.
Space Goats, yes.
Yeah, I saw Space Goats.
In the chat. Yeah, that's Space Goats in space. But yes, so when I first got into the game the second time, I jumped at the chance to play it. Number one, because I kind of thought their background story was different from the usual fantasy sort of trope. You know, instead of an elf, instead of a goblin, instead of a human, you're this creature from outer space that crash lands onto a planet, and you don't know, the ways of that world, so you try to learn. And I kind of resonated with that going back blindly because so many expansions came out once I got back. So I was playing it for a couple of weeks, and then by level 40, I got kind of lonely, so I was like, well, I'm going to look for a guild. And I found a guild full of just space goats. And I was like, dude, this is perfect. They're going to love my... They're going to, they're going to welcome me with open arms, because I had a very generic background story, like, okay, he's like from outer space. He doesn't know the way of the world, so I'm going to make him like a nomadic... X item carrier or courier, and he used to travel through different planets to deliver packages. And when I got in touch with this guild, I told them my idea, and a lot of serious guilds, which this one was, do interviews, so they they make you fill out a form and do a voice interview and all that stuff. Yeah. It's a little ridiculous, but at the same time, if you're running a guild, which I have done in the past, I know that's good.
It's kind of a CYA, yeah. Although the voice interview, that's a new one on me. But again, that was a lot more difficult back in the day before Discord too.
Yes, that is true, Sir Frog. Yes. So I tell them my story. They commended me for being creative, but they said, "Oh, your space goat can't be a traveling planetarian item courier because this X thing happened in Azeroth at this time, and the Draenei weren't, or that's what they're actually called. The Draenei weren't allowed to, or able to travel between planets and blah blah blah. They can only travel between portals on a specific one planet, and that's not tying into our plot, and you can't break blah blah blah, because if you break blah blah blah, then you're not serious, and if you're not serious, you can't be in our guild, blah blah blah." And what was weird was they did all of this right after they lamped me, and I'll explain what that means.
I was gonna say, I don't know what that one is.
What apparently part of the quote-unquote interview process or testing process that they do is if you inquire about being in their guild, they say, okay, fill out an application, and then while we're reviewing it, we will drop you into one of our RP sessions so that you can watch and see if it's something you might want to be a part of. So they let you kind of like test the waters.
But without participating or just watching?
You're a lamp. You're basically a lamp in the middle of the room.
Wow,
standing
this guild already
still.
Sounds awful.
Sorry. I mean, not knowing a lot in the beginning, I was like, oh, this sounds awesome. And then as I got through the process, I'm like, wow, this is a bunch of shit. But I was basically just standing in the corner of the area. I wasn't allowed to say a freaking word. And I couldn't like participate. I'm like, okay, this is kind of dumb. But it was just kind of, yes, that's exactly how they look. And
yeah, I see them now. I remember seeing those when I tried that out.
And you could probably already guess male Draenei, which is what I play because I don't cross-gender myself, are very unpopular. And like 90% of these characters of Draenei are played as female, and it's just, and I think that's
I can imagine.
Like, no, you cannot be in the guild if you are not a Draenei female. They are only the sexiest things, or something.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like pissed off that I had a creative idea, and it wasn't. I left it generic on purpose so that it could sort of merge somewhat.
Right, you left it open-ended while you learned more of their lore, so that you could fill in the blanks.
They look like the WoW equivalent, the Blizzard equivalent of the Predators or Protoss, but like for WoW.
I will say when I played or started World of Warcraft, I created one. I was one of those.
Yeah.
Protoss are the crazy dudes from StarCraft that look like the Predators.
I remember the Protoss.
Yeah. But
I think I always called them the Proteus, which means I was not probably pronouncing it right, but it was also very early on.
Yeah. But I was just very upset. I was like, I went through all this trouble to do the interview, to fill out an application, and they shut the creativity down. And I think, Jay, you were mentioning this earlier. These things are a way of being creative. They're a form of entertainment. It's not right for, quote unquote, serious role players or role play Nazis to sort of shut down other people's creativity, because this is where it's supposed to exist. And if you
because they're
cut that off,
they're destroying. Well, they're limiting themselves. Like, you're a good. We've talked with you before. Obviously, you're a good guy. You're.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, you're decent. I mean, you're all right. I mean, I don't hate you.
Thank you so much.
He's good in my book.
Yeah, but no, you're creative. I've seen, I've seen your art and your stuff. And
You're a solid role player.
Right. So because they're so fixated on, you have to do exactly as we say.
It doesn't exist.
Right. Well, and even if that's the thing, is like they could have helped you get into canon, but without having to stifle every single little thing. Or there's better ways to go about that than, like, I get it. It's their guild. It's like with the servants. It's their guild, and it's Dunmer only, and in certain things like that. And it's ordination, clergy, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're willing to work and try to help you switch, shift what you need to understand what it is that they accept.
Right.
But when you to go along with what you had said, there was a time in Star Wars: The Old Republic when I was looking to try to find a guild too, and I had found one that was super interesting. But the problem is they completely ignored if your character already existed, they basically ignored that. Like, so if you wanted to be a Sith, even if you had already been playing for like a year, a Darth or some a high level Sith, they wanted you had to join the guild. You had to start as an apprentice, regardless of where you were, how much knowledge you had of Star Wars in general. It's like
only in character, or starting
in
character.
In character, you had any character that joined, you had to be an apprentice, regardless of any lore that you may have had before. I didn't even approach them. I just read that and I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
But how many people?
I had to do
X
that.
out.
And it was hard because I had to figure out a reason why she would do that, because she was already a Sith.
Mm.
Yeah.
And she ended up pretending not to be, so she could work her way into the organization. So it worked for me, but when they found out, they were pretty pissed, because they were just like, wait. So you weren't actually, I'm like, you never said that she actually had to be that way. You said she had to start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she did. She didn't care if she did all the work all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Because to her, she was just like, I've got to get into this organization. So there you go.
It's just funny to me how serious sometimes people
And
take
it can be very roleplay killing, and I think
Absolute stifling.
it made them furious that Ashton and I created a whole storyline against him having my character infiltrate their organization and give him reports on what was going on.
Yeah. But that's the it's just you can't. You have to, this is coming from people doing a podcast on role-playing and MMOs. If we're telling you you're being a little too strict,
you're being too strict.
You're probably being a little too strict. I mean, we've done 37 episodes on this stupid shit. We get it. It's a silly hobby and it's just for fun.
It's not stupid to us.
But it's not a job. It's entertainment, man. And you got to
if
let
you
people
take
be
the entertainment
creative.
away, it becomes an obligation, and if it becomes an obligation, it's no longer fun, and that defeats the entire purpose of what the developers made in the first place.
Right. And what you said, you had another story?
Yes, and that kind of ties in about the killing comment that you guys made. Gnomes. Nobody seems to like fucking gnomes.
I like them better than halflings.
I like gnomes.
True, but I think the general populace of
you're
role
right.
players.
There's a reason EverQuest had drunken gnome races in Calethin. It was because nobody cared seeing 1,000 gnomes dead underneath the city. Gnomish genocide 2008.
Yeah. Now, I will say I have not role played as a gnome, and I don't know if I ever would. Maybe. I mean, I like short characters, so they do appeal to me graphically, but this particular story involves an acquaintance I have in World of Warcraft that occasionally talks to me, who has a plethora of gnome knowledge, specifically in World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he messages me, he seems to have like this rant or this comment about how Blizzard, the company that made World of Warcraft, is not giving gnomes enough of their due. Like, he's always going on and on about like,
it's
gnomes are
gnomish oppression.
Yes, exactly. He's like, gnomes are the smartest things on the planet. They could rule Azeroth. They have no idea. They make everything. They're, the military suppliers. They're this, they're that. And,
the gnomish industrial complex.
It sounds like a gnomish social justice warrior.
That's right.
Yeah. But then he flips around sometimes and he says, I don't play gnomes because nobody gives them the love and they're just stupid. Why should I play something that nobody likes? Blah, blah, blah. and I'm thinking to myself,
wait,
then how can you rightfully verbally give them love when you yourself won't play them? I mean, I get leaving or not doing something because you're being what's the word, like teased,
purposely excluded.
Excluded. Yeah, there you go. Excluded because of something ridiculous, like I get that, but at the same time, if you enjoy something, play it, do it, but like you said in the beginning of your recording, don't do it too much to the point that it turns people off, because I'll admit, while what he has told me makes it interesting to learn about as far as a backstory goes, he's telling me so much that it's kind of spoiling what I would have over time
oversharing
through playing.
Yeah.
And, I guess you could say that's like a RP Nazi that doesn't
even realize
potentially want to be bad, Yeah, he doesn't realize he's doing it, and he's not meaning to do it in a rude way, but he's doing it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. It's stuff like that exists, and it's unfortunate that this kind of like Nazism and racism exists in games as well as the real world. But that's the way it is.
How's your blood sugar doing over there, Jazz? Yeah, you should probably get that on mute there.
Sorry, I didn't realize it would make a noise. Sorry.
I didn't hear it.
But no, you're absolutely right. It's that too. There's kind of that kind of. There was a thing we said when we went over that top 11 list last week about the oversharing thing. And you can over. It's like when you're learning a new job, almost not like an actual job, and you're going through your training at something. It's just so much to nobody can remember all that. You're nervous. Yeah. You're excited to have a new job. You're gonna get paid. Yeah. Hopefully. Depends if your pimp is gonna how much he's gonna give you. But there's a lot to learn, and if you're just throwing information at somebody, it's
word vomit.
Yeah, it's word vomit. Yeah. And you can't. You're not gonna remember, and it could kind of I could. Oh, thank you. Was it Raynar Ralikai for subscribing to us? Appreciate that. Woo! That's what that little chat.
We need an applause machine. Yay!
I plan on actually
ring the bell, Jazz.
I plan on actually redoing the sounds one day, so it'll be like, "And the villagers rejoice." Yay!
That's like in the movie The Knight's Tale, right? Where the dude makes a whole speech and the audience just stares at the announcer blankly, and then all of a sudden the passerby just goes, "All right, we gotta get him to cheer," and so he just goes, "Yay!" and then everybody else just goes, "Yay!" Yay! I mean, it's not gonna make any sense if nobody's seen that movie, but
yes,
it's hilarious.
Oh, there was a politician who during the campaign stuff, he's like, he did his big speech, and then nobody said, he's like,
he did a yeehaw.
He did please clap. Oh, I think it was Chris Christie.
Oh.
He's like, please clap. I was like, oh, that's kind of sad. That's sad.
And then ever since then, in
you should have a Twinkie in celebration.
Like perceived as a sad person.
This is sad, but no, you're absolutely right. It's kind of I don't know how many people have been to conventions, and this sounds more like somebody that they're really passionate. They really love these things, but they're socially awkward as well, which probably isn't so much the lore Nazi as they just don't know how to speak to people, but they'll
Right.
come up to you when you're looking at, you're looking at Dragon Ball Z t-shirts, and then all of a sudden, you're just in the most
up and be like, "Hey, how
uncomfortable
you doing?"
conversation about the ins and outs of everything from Dragon Ball Z, and you're like,
Ashen,
It's like,
Strafe.
I have a live example of a lore Nazi.
Okay.
oh dear.
Did you say real life?
Yes, real life. So went to lunch one day with my buddy Tim from work, and we're sitting there talking about dark fantasy. And he started bringing up Harry Potter, and I was like, dude, Harry Potter's a joke. And I started slamming it. There's this guy, this nerdy-looking white dude with, like, a neck beard sitting next to us, and you could see his face like twisting. And, like, I knew it was doing it on my peripheral, so I said, dude, Harry Potter sucks. He turned around and just let us have it. Oh, it's dark. It's dash. And I looked at him and said, bro, I don't really care. And Han Solo shot first. He gave me the most horrified look. Like, Tim was, like, laughing. I'm laughing. We're always like wondering if like Harry Pot Smoker is going to show back up to water. And I saw him the other day, and I looked at him. He didn't look my way at all. But I'm like, dude, these people exist. They're like waiting.
Yeah.
They're like waiting to pounce.
Yeah, and it's some of it, again, it's just socially awkward. They're just bad. But when it comes to typing,
But that's unintentional.
Yeah, right. But like your example with the gnomish guy, that guy has some serious like personality disorder problems too.
Right.
I really love this. I'm never gonna play it. It's so dumb, but I love it so much. But I hate it.
I kind of feel like he's one of those like misery loves company kind of things, and maybe he doesn't get a lot of socialization. So the way that he sort of gets his kicks, so to speak, is to just kind of complain to people, maybe.
And if you know something they don't know, suddenly you feel important. I get it, and it is social awkward because that dude Whataburger is totally socially awkward. And I looked at him like, bro, really?
You're in a
You're gonna cut into our conversation? Like, it was strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's you can't be like that with people. Like there's good ways to pass on. If you're it's like going to school and like your history teacher's like, you don't know about the French Revolution? Bunch of fucking morons. Well, I guess I'm here to teach you. All right, sit down and grab a pencil. Yep. All right, so there were the French and they revolted. It's you can teach people the history and the lore of a thing without being indignant about it, that they don't know it, that maybe they're new to it. There's nothing wrong not knowing a thing just because I've recently come in to realize that I really like this thing, but I've got a lot of back stuff to pick up on.
Yeah. Actually, a little side thing about that I experienced when I first got into Elder Scrolls from a client who bought me the game for doing some work. Hashtag I love to barter. I asked the person who bought me the game, what do you know about it? Can you sort of give me some information on classes and stuff like that? Because I have to figure out what I want to play and everything. Not from a role play standpoint yet, but just from a, what about the game should I know ahead of time? And he kept telling me these things, and he was a role player, so eventually it did lead to role play information. But, he was describing it, like we said, too much. So, I quickly sort of shoved that aside. I said, thanks, I'll look into it myself. And I found this series. I still haven't finished it yet because it's a lot. But I found this really great series on YouTube. I forgot exactly what it was called, but it's essentially a video series about Elder Scrolls Online lore by Shoddycast.
Shoddycast, yep, it's really good.
We've all had to watch that.
I have spread the Shoddycast goodness.
Oh my god! I mean, if any of you guys from that series is listening to this,
nobody listens to this show.
Well, yeah, but long shot. But if I had two hands to effectively clap with, I would applaud you, and I would say keep it up, because I hate to read, and I know that's weird coming from a role player who has to type.
No, it's pretty normal for your age because you're 21, but go ahead.
No, actually, I'm 30.
That's Kishmas.
Oh. But
You're getting your people mixed up, Jazz.
Yeah.
No, I did it on purpose. I was being funny.
Oh.
Well, I'm
This
kind of
is why we don't let her tell
I'm not going to
jokes.
get that joke for another 5 minutes.
They do a good example of making it fun to listen to. Like they want lots of good
it's
images.
high production, accurate information. They tell you where they get their stuff from.
Yeah. And it's not too much. It's in small bites.
Yes.
You know, it's not like you're watching an hour-long video or a half-hour-long video. I think they're like 15, 20 minutes long, and I can,
give or take.
you know, that's excellent.
And then when they did ones on like the Danger Princes, they were one on each individual prince. They didn't have to,
exactly.
maybe one or
They
two
didn't
if
merge it all
there
together.
wasn't a whole lot. But I really wish that, I mean, that takes a lot of commitment, and you really got to know your shit to do that. I wish
And you
there were
have
a
to
lot
be
more.
passionate about it,
Mhm.
because if you're not passionate about that crap and you're trying to do a series like that, man, it's gonna reflect the effort that you don't put into it.
Exactly.
I'm glad you brought them up.
Kudos for doing
Smiling,
it.
because literally, I said I'm glad you brought that up, Smiling, because when people ask me a question about, let's say, Bretons or whatever, I go get the Breton episode and I'll link it to them and go watch that. And come back.
Yes.
Well, and you're going to learn more in that 10, 15 minutes than if you two sat and typed back and forth for an hour, probably.
Exactly.
No,
yeah. Watching those videos is how I chose my class.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about the internet too, because I bet you there's probably, especially with something as big as World of Warcraft, there's no way they may not do it as well, I don't know, but there's probably stuff out there lore-wise for World of Warcraft as well.
There is.
Yeah.
And I have watched some, but they are not
not as high production quality.
Like exactly.
Yeah.
They're not as high production quality. I will say they're informative.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the ones I watched was this guy's name's Nobel, I think. I don't know, he doesn't have a name for the series, but it's a YouTuber by the name Nobel. He sort of chronicles the backstory of the races and things. And Insomniac is right. There are some inaccuracies with them.
Yeah,
but
it gives you a good general overview.
Right. If you're just coming into the thing and you don't know much about it, that's a good place to go. I also have seen a series by a YouTuber named Dorn's Movies. He's pretty good. He actually dives into each class specifically, which is very nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of great YouTubers and things like that. And also another good way, like for people that want to learn lore, there's a lot of good podcasts out there too. I mean,
like this
lore-wise. No. No, I said good.
Oh, come on.
But no, there's so many, like, especially for Elder Scrolls, I've seen several of them that will go over, I think, Tales of Tamriel is one. Some of their stuff is a little, some of their stuff's a little cheesy, but so is ours. So I'm not exactly one to throw rocks in a glass house.
In a platter.
Who doesn't love the cheese?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about video game worlds and lore. There's gonna be cheese,
Knives don't like cheese because they have to cut it.
All right, so anyway, thanks for calling, Smiling Sorcerer.
You're welcome.
I thought it was funny.
You would. But no, I do appreciate you calling in and give us your stories. And I hope you have a good night. And I'm looking forward to working on some secret projects with you in the future.
Yes. Hear that, audience? Keep in touch. Some secret stuff is coming your way.
That's
keep that
I know
finger
that was
just as
Irish,
handy.
but okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you're
you're going back to
German accent.
you're going back to the old episode where Jazz got pissed.
Drunk. Oh boy. Drunk, yes.
But
Pissed
no,
actually means drunk in Irish.
that's
don't you know?
right. In Irishese. Is that's the
Irishese.
official
Yeah,
language?
you really just say that,
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Smiling, and
You're
thank
welcome.
you for your tales, and you have a good night.
You're welcome. You too. Thanks.
Later. So yeah, and that's some very good examples of the roleplay Nazis, or lore Nazis, lore roleplay Nazis. You know what I'm talking about. There's something I was looking up here. Our Arethel de Anna, like anything there's in the chat, there's ways to work with somebody who is at least trying to learn the lore, and Axmalexia, man, since it's supposed to be Almalexia, you're totally throwing me off with the reverse letters there. Axmalexia, yep. Though for me, there's a point of I'm working to learn it and lol, nah, lore not needed. You know, there's definitely if people are willing to try to learn the lore, you can work with somebody like that. But there are definitely role players that are like, I don't need to know that.
Yep. I think we've all run afoul of people that just make their own thing and they don't care about the story of the game.
Yeah, and you can't do that. If you're gonna role play, you gotta.
Well, you can. It's just gonna be.
You can't do it well.
Well, you can do it, and there's going to be people who are going to like it. But the majority of role players that truly enjoy immersive RP are not going to appreciate that kind of deviation.
I was putting on chapstick. You're supposed to keep talking.
Yeah.
Did you know
I'm just
that?
trying to explain that as a guild leader, I ran into lots of people, and I do mean a lot of people who have absolutely no problem whatsoever with people who do not follow any kind of lore whatsoever.
And I never roleplayed those people.
No, I didn't either. But there are a lot of people out there
You
like
start
that.
to, and then you're like, I don't think you're doing anything right. And then when and here's the thing, because there is the lore Nazi, but there's also those people that just flat out refuse the help. I mean, like, no matter how kind or well-intentioned you may be, they may accuse you of being a lore Nazi when really all you're trying to do is help inform them, being like, hey, just, I don't know if you're aware of this, but such and such, such and such and such and such, the such and such and such. Psh, don't tell me how to do my stuff. Well, I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just trying to educate you. Education, it's like one of my pet peeves, being willfully ignorant. Especially if someone's trying to help you, why are you fighting? Why would you fight against that? Why?
Because they don't want anybody to tell them how they can roleplay.
Is it just being obstinate for the sake of being obstinate? Because there are people
just
that
being obstinate. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I view it. I think they're just, and I think it's a gut reaction, a visceral reaction to somebody saying that they're wrong.
It's an ego thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely an ego thing.
It's a knee-jerk ego response.
A lot of times, like Ashton said, you're just trying to help somebody so that the roleplay community at large will include you instead of, running off being a Scottish vampire with Super Saiyan powers. It's like, no, dude, no one's going to roleplay with you keep doing that crap.
Super Saiyan Scottish, level 3. But yeah, okay, so yeah, and there's not much you can do with that. You just basically have to write those people off, because there are perceptions of people that are like, you're being a lore Nazi, and then there's the people that are trying to help, and it can be a blurry line depending on those involved,
Because people will say that saying that there is lore is being a Nazi.
Right, and it's like, well, no, it's the game establishes these things. They release stories, especially on a game like ESO, where there's like 5 gajillion, I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 different lore books that are in the game. Now, a lot of those have also come from previous ESO game or Elder Scrolls games that are included in it.
So would we call them the non-conformist Nazis?
I guess, like the anti-fascists. I don't know.
High five.
But they're still awful. So they're just like the reverse sign of the same dirty coin.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's see here, and one thing we have here is just because it says it in lore doesn't mean it can't be changed a little. You do need to be open-minded. It is just a game, for goodness sake. Sid wrote that because I wouldn't say goodness sake.
Yes.
I should have you read these, Sib. I don't even know what you're doing, but you've not said anything forever.
I'm sorry.
What are you even doing over there?
Nothing. I'm doing nothing.
One wonders in her silence what she's
Sitting
cooking
there?
up.
I'm just sitting here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, we're doing a show, so show it.
I don't have a camera.
Mm-hmm.
What are you reading?
It was number 2, is what I just read. But I was just saying, because you said, for goodness sake. That's definitely not something I would say. I'd say for the love of God. But
For goodness sake.
Yeah.
I also say that tickled me.
And I don't know why. That's actually
Yeah.
her catchphrase. I found that, I thought that was funny, but I don't know why. Or I don't know why, but I think that's funny. Yeah, that's her catchphrase. But yeah, it's, you have to use the lore as like an outline. You can't use that as like, it can't be, you have to bend a little. There has to be a little give and a little take. You have to let people be imaginative within the lore, like dark elves being dark elves and high elves being high elves, but not every single dark elf is going to hate everyone or be super dark. And not every high elf they're not all good people. I mean, they're snotty little pieces of shit, but there could be some that are really kind-hearted and actually disagree with the way that certain things happen, depending on, what game you're in. But it's just like
the problem that a lot of people have is that the majority of people that you bump into on a regular basis are like, well, see, I am an unusual dark elf.
Right.
I'm different. So I'm nice.
Yeah. And it depends. Like,
but you get tired of hearing that. It's like, how about you just attempt?
Yeah. Well, like
to be a dark elf.
Well, yeah. And like in saying for Elder Scrolls and stuff, there's plenty of races all over the world that, clearly that they're not all zealots and things like that.
Right.
So, there's some of them in the High Elf lands. There's some of them, they're all over the place. They're, and so not obviously every single one of them is going to be like, I killed Enwa babies in my sleep or whatever. But it's, so that's okay, but there has to be a reason for that, You have to have an understanding. You can't be like, yeah, I was raised in the temple and my family was worshipped the tribunal and I love all Enwa.
The case in point, if you play Skyrim in the 4th era, you go to Riften, there is a dark elf named Bran Shay. He was raised by Argonians because he was kind of sent off in a Moses basket while his house was being murdered by the Argonians in Morrowind. He was raised by some Argonian family that found him. So, that's an excuse of, hey, he's a nice dude because he's raised by somebody else.
Right.
And if you just do that, it's cool. But just have a reason.
Yeah, you just have to come up with reasons for things. Like one of the things, and I had come back to Elder Scrolls, there was somebody there, and man, they everything I tried to do, they had come up with new rules while I was gone, and it was one thing after the other where he was basically just trying to recreate and rewrite my character, and man, and at this point, I don't deal with that. I just went head to head with him straight on, over and over and over. We did not get along at all, but he was wrong. That's why. He was flat out wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And while he may not have agreed with that, he's not around anymore, so who gives a shit? Yeah, how's that? I'm still here. You're not. Hey, Sib.
What?
You want to read number 3?
Yeah, I'll read number 3.
Okay.
Number 3. Use the resources. For finding the game, or the lore in the game, wiki, forums, etc. It is out there somewhere. Find it.
That's true.
Good?
True.
Am I good?
Very good.
Okay.
All right, go back to sleep.
I like her mean voice. Dang.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what were you doing over there? You're just like...
Okay. This is what I'm doing. Gosh,
Now she's
darn
going
it.
to tell the truth.
In ESO on Saturday nights, one of our high ordinators has
You're not even listening to the show.
has a lecture on lore. And so I popped in. I'm not RPing. I'm just standing like a wallflower looking at the lore that she puts up.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
Yeah, and it made you not pay attention to anything that was being said or participating because you can't do two things at once.
Here's the thing, okay? I am not good with lore. I will say that I'm not good with lore. If I need to know something, what do I do? You tell me. What do I do?
You ask me or Ashen or
You
Jazz.
cry.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you. See?
Or Nathala,
Jafena
because
was-
let's be frank, Nathala knows more than probably
Yeah.
all three of us combined.
But
It's just
Nathala's
embarrassing.
having a lecture, and I like to go to her lectures when she has them. It's like every other Saturday.
You'd like
So
Nathala Strafe.
I sneak in, and I just stand like a wallflower, and I read while we're doing the show. I'm bad.
So just a funny, shameless plug. While we do this show, I grind Jet XP, and I pay attention. I'm just saying.
Well,
I usually harvest, so I run around.
Am I the only one on the show that pays full attention to what's right before me?
I am paying full
attention.
I said full attention.
I am paying full attention because I can give my full attention to what I'm talking about and do something mindless in the background, and it doesn't affect me at all.
You're the fearless leader, and we rely on you for the cues.
Oh, now
and
hold on. I hear this strange sound in the background. Is yes, that's nice. Yeah.
Just trying to explain why you should pay full attention.
By the way, Sibh'Bae, you may continue.
Let's go back to number 3.
How about that?
Go back to number 3. Okay, use your resources, please, folks.
Yes, actually, that is great. And it's not even that really hard. I mean, like, just learn the basics.
I have 3
is
of
not
the
that
best.
Hard.
Okay, 5 of the best resources.
Everybody, not you, as the best resource.
Well, whenever I first came into the game, okay, I talked to a friend of ours, Wolf, who knows a lot about the game. Sibh'Bae, I was playing off them, and I did do some of the podcast. You mentioned it earlier, though not the one that was put in chat. Not Shoddy Cast, but with the other one.
I feel a disturbance in the forest.
There's
Tales of Tamriel.
Yeah,
was
Tales
the
of
one I
Tamriel
did.
is
Yeah.
a good one.
Okay, that's the one I did.
Yeah, it's totally good.
Kishmas.
Oh, we got a Kishmas.
Throw out our master Pokeball.
Somebody, you can't catch me.
Oh, you've been caught. You've been caught. I think I need to turn you up a little bit. There we go.
You've been caught and then smacked with a pillow.
All right. But yes, people, and by the way, Arithel in the chat, don't give her that out. So just because we're doing a show on lore doesn't mean that she gets to get an out on doing lore research. That's, I'm going to be with Rahanar. That's bullshit. But actually, I kind of, Nathala knows her lore shit inside and out. So
Okay.
her
I'm
doing it
getting
on
in
Saturday
trouble,
when we
Chris-
do the show,
Christmas.
so it bums me out because I actually love seeing her stuff too.
Exactly. That's why I'm just standing in game and I can read what she posts. I don't really respond, but I can read
Here
her
or
lore.
there.
Yes.
Kishmas, I'm getting in trouble for standing in game listening to Nathala's lecture.
That's what I'm about to do. Fight me.
I'm the
Fight
only.
me.
I'm the only one. I'm it. I am this dedicated that the only thing I have I have 2 screens. Each screen has 2 different things on it.
Cry me a river, bro.
Oh, I am.
I'm playing you a little violin.
Hey, why
song.
don't you read number 4 there, Toots?
Number 4.
I love you, baby.
Don't shoot down somebody's idea, Ashen. When you think you're stretching the lore a little thin, help them understand why you think it would be counterproductive to their RP to go down that path.
I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think what you should do is if they do something, you ridicule and you bash them in guild chat in front of everybody and disrupt the entire event to tell them why they're wrong.
Like I've just disrupted this tire. I give up. Maybe that's
And it's not even Irish time. She's not drinking. She's just got water and tea over there. That's the sad part.
Fantastic.
I give up.
Yeah.
I'll read them when you want me to, but I can't comment because I just am getting tongue-tied. This is embarrassing.
I know. You should hear it on my end. It's glorious.
I
So how's
hate
your
you
night,
right now.
Kishmas? Kishmas?
Huh?
How was
What?
your night?
Oh
my God. All right, you know what? We're wrapping it up. We're done, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
What are you doing, Kishmas?
You know. One of those days.
Sweet Mary, Mother of God. There's
Tell us more.
not a one of you.
Oh, geez. Fine.
All right, so today at my work, I thought about RP, and I thought about Lore Nazi, and I almost hiled.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just saying, maybe not the best thing to do at a Best Buy.
Especially with all them, all
Yeah.
them liberals. Oh.
Yeah. Well, and everybody that goes into a Best Buy, NWA.
Oh, yeah.
You know
Definitely not Best Buy with them in there.
That's right. The great thing about this, what was it? The Clerks? This job would be so much better if it weren't for all the customers.
Good show.
That's right. But no, what she was saying, it's just like stretching the lore a little bit, pushing things here and there. I mean, it's like anything. Nobody in our world conforms to every single thing. Like, I've seen videos. There's a friend of mine who's a security guy out here in where we live, and he videotapes almost everything he does. And he was videotaping this tweaker that was just, he was jerking and he was tweaking all over the place. The guy was seriously on something or coming off of something really hard. Those people exist. Not everybody is a good, decent person all the time. We all have our moments. We all have things. No white person, no black person, no Chinese person, no Canadian, no Australian is all exactly the same. It doesn't matter what race or, I guess really, it's really more species in a lot of fantasy games, but race or species you're in, nobody conforms exactly to every single thing. It's not Star Trek or like a lot of fantasy
even in
games.
Star Trek, they had people that were...
Right. Well, I meant like, they visit a planet and like the whole planet's exactly the same kind of, they're all in lockstep on that a lot of times.
Yes, true.
Or Stargate was another good example where like, the wherever the Stargate was at, that was sort of how the entire planet was supposed to be like. Star Wars is a lot like that too, where, each planet is its own way, and like, they're all like that. Like, I don't know why there's not major cities across the entire planet. It's just this one city in this one planet, and that's pretty much all there is. But
not every chiss is Grand Admiral Thrawn, and that's kind of to our point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, if you're going to, and
There's always variation.
not every Time Lord was Doctor Who. They obviously, because they're all dead. It's okay to be a little bit different and not conform to in every single thing. Now, there's 5 of us here. At the moment, there's 12 of you viewing. I can guarantee you, while we all have a lot of similar ideas and things that we may all like, there's not a single one of us that would agree on every single thing. It's not possible. So, that's okay, and if and that's one of those things with the lore Nazi type looking at lore, is that if you don't conform to exactly what's the preconceived notion of the lore
to them,
and that's the thing. They think they're right all the time, no matter what. They can't, even to the point at times where you can provide a link or a statistic or something like that to a fact that proves that you're correct. Well, to quote modern day, that's fake news.
Yeah.
That was, or what's Kishmas? What's that thing that people have to pay a fine in the guild if they actually mention it in guild chat? Is it Coda? Is that it?
Oh, yeah, you got to pay in the swear jar.
Yeah.
So the best part is, it's been months since anyone's mentioned that.
Until now.
See,
and like I've looked into that. I still don't understand what the fuck that thing's talking about. I have no clue.
Look, the dude who wrote the 36 Lessons of Vivek was on LSD, had like 3 packs of cigarettes in one night, and had scotch in his hand. No one's going to be able to understand that to the extent of the lore. Dude was nuts.
Well, wait, that's not normal? That's how I live my life.
If that's how you want to write lore, then go ahead. Pop a few mollies and, get some alcohol into my system. Oh man, I can see.
Okay.
I can see sounds.
Yeah.
I can taste colors.
I can see the music. Yeah. I am the Lizard Queen.
But there's one thing I do not like. It's kind of selfish, but when people talk about the lore and they talk about something that's not officially in the lore, and they say, "Oh, it's pretty much speculation." I really don't like that because I'm like, well, see, you gotta compare different cultures of races in the MMO to what they're inspired by in real life. Then you gotta compare and contrast, and then you gotta see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Be like, oh no, this is totally accepted. How do you know? Is it in the lore? Well, no, I just speculating. That's why I think it is. Then people starting to get into arguments. It's like, that's not right. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. And it gets into this whole cycle of debating whether or not one single point of lore is true or not.
Yeah,
even though it's nothing said into the books.
What was it you said? You said it in the last episode, where you were enjoying people. They are having a lore discussion. And which is I've enjoyed.
Yeah,
I've had discussions of lore, of EverQuest, of Star Wars, Dragon Ball Super. Which let's be honest, is the entire plot is somebody comes in that's stronger than Goku. Goku breaks through his limits. Goku defeats them. Somebody else comes in that's stronger than Goku. Goku. That's the entire story. The stuff that happens in between, that's the bread and butter of it, you know.
The basis of what I said last time was these lore discussions are really good and in depth, and all of a sudden someone says, "Well, you just completely 180'd your statement, and now your opinion's wrong." And the person tries to counter that with a different opinion,
they get into
saying,
semantics.
That opinion's wrong because my opinion's wrong.
Right.
And they start just discussing what they're debating, not even what they're debating.
How to debate.
Discussing how to debate my opinion and all that. I'm like, well, that's where you stop. Because then it's mudslinging, and that's not allowed.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying and really cumbersome to my mind.
Yeah, and I want to go over something real quick, because this is another good point. We didn't actually have this on here, but Insomniac in the Discord, which, by the way, if you want to call in like the Sputling Sorcerer did, RPMMORadio.com/Discord, just jump into our caller waiting room, and we'd love to hear your stories and things like that. We've got about a half hour, so you got plenty of time.
But we are a live show.
Yep, and we are live right now, so if you're listening to it on the podcast, it's too late.
Because we do it live.
It's too late.
Go live!
But Insomniac in the Discord said, something that bugs me is when someone's character is as a walking lore encyclopedia. It ruins my immersion the same way someone does... Okay, I read that totally wrong there. That ruins my immersion the same way someone who doesn't give a shit about... he said war, but I think he maybe lore. I don't know. Like I have a character that is incharacterly ignorant about the Bosmeri Green Pact, and out of nowhere, this Nord warrior type instantly told him about the pact. Yep,
I know a couple people like that.
Right.
They'll be like, their characters will be like, oh, well, what I've heard from the grapevine that this culture all the way to the west, in High Rock, they are, Manmer and all that. And, the orcs in Orsinium had this rebellion. I'm like, how would you know that? Oh, Mages Guild text. I'm like, source, man. Like, we'll ask them, like, Sealy, where do you get this information? Because it's truly not written in books yet in the game. It's like, well, I just heard. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm like, that's a cop-out. You're just trying to Mary Sue yourself into thinking your character knows everything.
Yeah, and that's like, you have to think of what your character would know. Like I was saying with my Star Wars knowledge when I played a Sith or a Jedi, they can't know every single aspect of. I mean, they're going to know the basics, because and for one, the Sith aren't nearly as secret in, say, the Star Wars: The Old Republic. They're having a giant war, so there's plenty of crossover.
Right.
But excuse me. But if your character is just a walking encyclopedia and knows everything you know, you're really not playing your character. You're playing you, and that's actually a sort of lore Nazi that's almost it's just as bad. Because, how many times, Kishmas, in the guild when we've gone to different lands, they're like, okay, so this is a what we're eating now,
Exactly.
Because in Morrowind, they don't have things like cows and chickens and things like that. It's all like lizards and bugs and shit.
Of course, your character can learn about it through RP, and then your character can say, "Oh yeah, I know about this."
Right. Or if your character's like Tarvala, she's known of a lot of these things because her family was in shipping, so they went and shipped goods and to and from different lands and things like that too. So
one good example of doing it right would be when I did the early tea time meetings or whatever. Trath would literally share his knowledge about stuff he read in the Old Mary libraries, and he was talking about the legend of the snow elves. We have limited knowledge, but they were supposed to be this, this, and this. And I've gone, many expeditions and found little to nothing, but I've found just enough to maybe give validation to these legends. But I never said it was a fact.
Right. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
But just
Same thing goes with dragons too. Like everyone knows they're real, but it's been thousands of years. Now it's just legend. They're like, but they're real. They're legends.
yeah. Well, I mean, geez,
And
look
to
how.
quote the great Ulfric Stormcloak, legends don't burn down villages.
That's right. But well, I mean, look at our own history. I mean, we the Mayans, we got no clue how a lot of Egyptian life was in the pyramids and things like that. No clue. It's not been Stonehenge. We don't even know where the fucking thing that came from. Aliens, by the
If
way.
you compare different timelines of the lore compared to our lifetime and our lore, it's not that different in terms of time. Like 1,000 years ago, was it 1018? Everyone thought the world was flat, and now
Only 10% of people.
I shouldn't have said that.
Did you hear about the new guy that?
Oh Lord!
down
You
in
opened that can of
California?
worms.
That he created a steam-powered rocket. This dude created a rocket that's steam-powered. Now, I love the innovation. I love the idea. His first test out in the desert, however, he got up to 1,800 feet before hurtling back to Earth and shattering a lot of bones and I think breaking his back. Now, the reason he created this was, of course, he's done a lot of research on the Earth, and he has not been able to find conclusive evidence that it is, in fact, round. So when he heals up, he's going to recreate his rocket, and he's going to go 64 miles up on his steam-powered rocket so that he can see for himself that the Earth is, in fact, flat. Now, where you go from 1,800 feet to 64 miles, I'm not sure how you're going to make that technological leap there, Kim Jong-un, but I really hope there's footage.
I don't know how to pronounce her name in the chat, but Calico,
Like the cat.
Calico. Okay.
Yeah, I know, it got me too.
Those that are lore smart but timeline stupid and can't get around the fact that ESO is thousands of years before Skyrim, yet scream about Skyrim lore. I can't fully agree anymore. It's annoying as shit. That's one of the reasons why I shut off.
He gives you
chat.
a gold star.
It is pretty annoying.
You
Yeah.
get
So
a
how was that?
glamour star.
How was that Fusro Dog Kishmas?
Shut up. Oh yeah, you were the guy.
don't taste the forbidden fruit.
But you did. Please tell us more.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and it's like knowing, like I know in character in ESO, the guild that I'm in, they're on the wrong side of history. The Ashlanders are right. The gods were horrible.
Yep.
They killed Nerevar. They stole their power from the Heart of Lorcan. They're not good people. They're really not worthy of being worshipped. And eventually they die. Well,
And
2
you
out
know
of
what?
3.
The kicker is, Dagoth did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Like Attila the Hun.
I
Wait.
gave him a gold star for you, Kishman.
You sure? Oh my God, there really are gold stars in the chat.
I will give him a
yeah.
second
Yeah, let's
one.
all right. Everybody
That's
give,
right. Let's
give-
everybody.
give Calico a gold star. There we go.
Okay,
3
come
gold
on,
stars.
Jess, Mr. Fee, get in there and get that gold star. Yep, one more.
Yeah, there you go.
No, oh no, one more.
But,
Somebody's got to give one more.
How
By
do I
taking
give
it
a
away.
gold star?
But if you know, even though you know that, you can't worry about that in this game because it literally. There's no way to know that. At this moment, they are literally they are as powerful as any of the Daedra. But the fact that
Well,
the Daedra stay away from them.
Lesser Daedra.
Well, yeah.
There's a reason why Vivek, Lexi, and Solstice are pretty much at an eternal war against Molag Bal, Sheogorath, Mehrunes Dagon, and fucking Malakath. It's
Right.
because they're the greater Daedra,
Right.
and they're far more powerful.
Yeah. But, but they're still able to at least be like, all right, we'll keep it bay for now. These guys, for the Daedra, it's like, the thousands of years that the 30 rule over the Dunmer. It's a drop in the bucket. They'll be gone before you know it.
Albeit, there was peace and prosperity and more when in their rule. Now they had a couple wars here and there, they just kept to themselves, governed themselves, that they were benevolent most of the time until the Guthor came back. And then, like, oh, we've got to protect our own selves, so let's destroy everything and create a ghost fence and not care about the people anymore. And then so on and so forth. And I was like, you killed Almalexia. Almalexia killed Silthasil. Vivek's like, oh, I guess I'm going to leave now.
Meanwhile, somewhere in there,
Peace.
Kyber Septim's rolling in.
Like, law, what's up, bitches?
I will be a new emperor. You may call me your emperor. The end.
Pretty much.
All right, so let's see here. Moving on, what do we have? Sib the Reader. Number 5. Wow. It's just, how long does it take you to drink? What is that, straight whiskey? Good Lord. What?
Nothing wrong with checking out lore of a game. Really. It actually is very good. It is a very good thing. So that you are able to get into the character you're wanting to portray. Man, I am sucking. But I did it.
This is, you should hear her read to the children at the local library. It's really actually
it's fun.
It's really sad when
the children are part of hearing.
Yeah, it's sad when the 5-year-old pulls the book out of her head and says, "Sweetie, I got it from here."
Why is the book upside down?
Ouch.
How are you reading a picture book? It's Where's Waldo?
Shut up and sit down. That's all I got to say.
I'm 21.
You're adopted. Get out of here. And for anybody that's adopted, it's perfectly okay. You're loved as much as anybody else, even though your parents
We love
didn't
you
originally
here.
want you.
Remember, our disclaimer is true.
That's right. Everything we say on this show is awesome and accurate, and if you don't believe in everything that we say, you're wrong. No, in fact, Calico, she's still better than reading Stephen King's audiobooks when he reads his own audiobooks because he is that goddamn bad at it. Stephen King, don't read your own audiobooks. You're terrible.
I gotta get the keys to my Caprice.
I want a Sean Connery audiobook.
Don't.
Can you imagine him read?
Audiobooks out there is actually Christopher Lee doing the whole Tolkien series.
Oof! Wow. Or Sean Connery reading like 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh no.
And he spanked me once again, hard this time. I like
Gilbert.
it.
No, Gilbert Godfrey.
Gilbert Godfrey reading that.
Put the chain over me.
And then he bound me by my arms.
Okay.
Can't do Godfrey.
Number 5.
What was number 5? Yeah.
Nothing wrong with checking out the lore of a game.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Really?
true. You already read that, sweetie.
I know. I was reading the first line. Get us
you
back
already,
on track.
You already read it.
Back on track.
Okay, so back to Sean Connery reading audiobooks.
I was doing my train sound to get us back on track.
Is that what that was?
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I just didn't throw in the horn.
That's right. But no, that is a really good way to learn. I've learned a lot of the... You can learn a lot of lore by just doing quests and reading the stuff that's in the game too. I mean, the games, the wiki, the forums, things like that are always good places. But you can learn a lot of really neat stuff just by questing and paying attention and not like hitting enter and skipping all the dialogue.
Yes.
Which we're all guilty of.
Right. Well, I mean, after I've done the quest once, maybe, but. Or if it's a game, I have to say it's so bad. When I was playing Shroud of the Avatar, it doesn't talk. You have to read it. God, I understand what Smiling Sorcerer was saying about how he hates to read. It's like, it's that wanting to learn the lore and learn the quest that you're on, and also just wanting to play the damn game and just go kill something. It really is awful. We're such a shitty generation of people when it comes to like our attention span. It's the worst.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are. You are a
Number fi-
shitty
number
generation.
Number 5 is definitely a good point. Because ever since starting to learn how to RP way back, I've been doing a lot of lore reading when I was going through the game.
You're so old, Kishmas. That way back.
Way back.
2 years ago.
Back when I used to lie on my applications.
Oh,
Disney.com.
that's right.
But like World of Warcraft, I never got into the lore in that when I played. But recently I have, and I was like, ooh, this is quite interesting. You know, like the whole splitting of the world, everything's going different directions, and Maelstrom and whatever. I don't know. I'm not good at it, but I'm just saying it's interesting what you can learn in a game's lore.
You could just play the RTSs and you could learn it all, pretty much.
But I'm not
A
that
good
old.
80% overview. It's pretty
Listen.
fun anyway.
Listen, Jazz can vouch. I'm 21.
Yeah, you're a
Oh
kid.
my God. Now I want to know, why can Jazz vouch for you being 21? Is there something we need to know?
What?
I suspect Jazz will never tell.
Yeah, it'd just be her coming strutting in. Do 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 do.
See, Kishmas,
Kish-
you walked
Kishmas
right
is-
into that one.
Kishmas is lost in the wild.
I've been attacked by a cougar.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He died with a smile on his
Bob-
face.
By the way,
Big smile. Thank
Bobcat Goldwith reading Gone with the Wind. I would listen to that.
you. That would be really funny, wouldn't it?
I feel weird. I'll go home and I'll think about it on the way to get back to him. After all, tomorrow's another day. Yeah,
Oh my god.
I would
So
totally
excellent.
read that. Yeah. Man, whatever happened to that guy, by the way? I loved him in the 80s
Didn't he
and
die
90s.
of a heart attack? Didn't he die of a heart attack? I
Oh,
thought?
please don't say that. Is he dead? Okay, now I gotta...
Yeah, I think he did. I think he died rather suddenly a while ago.
Let's see here. No, he's still alive. It says
Is he?
Yeah.
Who was I
Oh, wait.
thinking of that does the yelling and dies?
Oh, you're thinking of Sam Kinison.
That's who I was thinking
Yeah,
of.
no,
Okay,
Sam
he did die.
Kinison. Yeah, Sam Kinison, who was brilliant. But no, Bobcat's still around. Yeah. So, whew, man, dodged a bullet on that one, didn't we, everybody? I know we are all worried about Bobcat Goldthwait from, of course, the Police Academy movies and One Crazy Summer with John Cusack, where he got stuck in the Godzilla costume and tore apart Shady Acres Estates model.
Yes.
I probably
it.
know a
Love
little too
every
much
bit of
about
it.
that.
Maybe
I
a little
do.
bit.
A little bit. You think so? So yeah, but that's the game itself obviously is a fantastic place to learn the lore, and Chris Farley. Yeah, Chris Farley did do that too, but we did lose Chris Farley, unfortunately. Miss you far. So yeah, that's a fantastic place. It's just the goddamn lore Nazis just drive me crazy. Because it takes years for those people to learn what they know, and yet somebody that just like, hey, I'm brand new to the game and I'm looking to roleplay, and then they just start beating them about the head and shoulders for not knowing things. Like, I know we had somebody who's like, you don't know all of the saints in the Dunmer? Like, you don't know all the saints in Catholicism either, so what's the point? I
And that's
get it.
why I love you, because you would say that,
And I
would
did, and like,
probably
well, I
follow
don't
that.
follow Catholicism. Well, I haven't followed all the saints in the stupid tribunal either, so why the fuck would I know this by heart yet? I'm still learning. I have to look it up. It's okay for me to be not completely knowledgeable yet. You know?
So Ashen,
Mhm.
tell me about Saint Voorhees the Immolant.
St. Voorhees the Immolet actually first came about from Crystal Lake and became St. Jason Voorhees the Succulent.
Wow. I can't.
Yeah, take that, Nazi.
And many younglings died at the hands of his radiant machete.
Is there actually a St. Voorhees? Because that's the first thing I thought of was Jason Voorhees.
Wow. don't know how to pronounce these
You don't know how to
fucking
pronounce
names,
man. That's the thing. That's what.
All I know, he's the patron of House Telvanni. And
That's
shit.
what bringing up a wiki and Control F is for. That's how I find this shit when I'm on the spot. Yeah, see, Voorhees. It's Jason's great grandfather.
Not quite, but good.
Yeah, he jumps out of a lake and he kills teenagers that are having sex out of wedlock.
Teenage Dunmer. Teenage Dunmer who
Yeah.
are out of their mushroom tower.
You're all sinners. All right, Sib, number
I'm
6.
here. I'm here. I'm looking at it.
Number
I
6.
am ready to read it. There is never a dumb question.
Well, that was
False.
dumb.
That wasn't a question.
Oh.
That was a statement.
But you're just dumb.
Oh.
I'm done. I wasn't invited to the party and now I'm being called dumb.
It was a dumb party anyway.
Your hair sure looks nice.
I hate all of you
Dang.
guys right now. I hate you guys all.
Don't worry, I hate myself
I
more.
didn't
Okay.
do anything wrong.
Let's do this one more time. There is never a dumb question, Kishmas. That's right. Don't be afraid to ask some of the seasoned players for advice on lore things.
Like, is it okay to say Fus Rodal yet?
Oh boy.
You're never living that down, dude.
What is that, Kishmas? What is that? Can we explain that to us?
It's a shout from the Elder Scrolls game, Skyrim.
That is how far after ESO?
Thousands of years.
Just
They might give you a very good idea on how the lore works for you.
Yes. Utilize people like
And you know
Nicole.
what? Yes. Don't be
And
shy.
that's why I'm in game right now reading her lecture.
Mm-hmm.
Also, ask your lecturer if they can provide transcripts, as Nathala does during her classes.
Yes.
Yeah, because she
Puts
writes
them on
that
the
shit.
forums.
She writes that
Always
shit up beforehand.
Forums for guilds are very important because a lot of information, a lot of lore behind guild lore is placed there. And even in-game books can be found there if you have more in-depth guild-like servants.
Yeah. And and most people, like, if you go to play, I know that, like, ESO, we've got a few people that really, really know the lore inside and out, like, you know, and like I did with Star Wars. Anybody, or EverQuest, anybody that came to me, like, I offered to every newbie, like, hey, if you ever have questions on lore, come to me, because if I don't know it, I know enough to be able to find out exactly where it's at, and tell you, you know, within a couple minutes. Where it may take you a long time to read through all this stuff, I know it well enough that if I don't know it, I can find it, and more than likely, I'm going to know it.
That's
And
one thing.
We're
Old
happy to
Dustin
help.
did well. They had the helper tab where if you needed help role-playing or questions of the game, someone put the helper tag above their head. You could go ask them questions. I got a lot of early help on, you know, just seeking those folks out.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's nothing, you know, and that's the thing. The majority of people, lore Nazis, there's not that many of them overall. And some people can get that way at times, but for the most part, they're just happy to share, you know, getting a right answer, and when somebody asks you something that you know, like, inside and out and you know the answer to, is there any better feeling in the world than that you can share knowledge with another person, even if it's something as stupid as video game lore? I mean,
No, I think that it's
It's
nice.
awesome.
It's nice to share with somebody what you know, and helps you feel more validated by the time that you've spent learning a game.
yeah,
I agree.
that your hobby and all this time, that, like you said, all the time you've put in there, that this something that's always, for whatever reason, fascinated you, and you've been steeped in the lore and knowledge of this, you know, whatever little nook and cranny of nerddom that you're into, can help another person, you know, either make their character better, or you can inform them. You can, you know, you can get a good conversation going with them. It's really nice. It's actually very cool. It's one of my favorite things, you know. Just through the show, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people that have listened to us one-on-one, and I like every single one of them. You know, I may not be able to get to it right away, but anytime someone pings me, I'm always happy to talk with whatever anybody has. I mean, I've talked to people through text. I've actually talked to a handful of you guys just in voice chat after the fact. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy what we do on the show. I enjoy role play, and even if we're not talking maybe like lore, but talking of all the knowledge that I have and that you have, and sharing that back and forth of how to role play no matter the game, I really enjoy doing that. That's one of the reasons we do this right here, is because every single one of us, no matter what game we're in, we still seem to really enjoy role play, and we have game to game to game. That's the one constant. So, and that's why we do it, and it's in being able to share and talk with something that you're passionate and you love, whether it's the hobby or the lore about the hobby. People love doing that, and it's a lot of fun, and that's it. It's very validating, and it makes you, it makes you feel like you've had a good conversation and you've had fun with somebody just to have a conversation. It's nice, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
that's one thing I love to do. Like on Alanu, guild night, we just mainly go to the guild hall, and there's a bar, and we sit around, and I love to just chat with people and find out about. I mean, like the other night, I was on Voli, which is an orc, and there was 3 Dunmere gentlemen. I know one of them was Draven. I can't remember the other 2's names, but I was chatting with them about. They said 2 of them were from Vivek City. And so I was just chatting, and they were telling me about the city and how the building had been going on. And it was fun just to hear them talk about it, and I might pick up a little piece of information that I didn't know from them. You never know what you're going to get when you just talk to somebody. They may know something you don't have no clue about. And you'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Vivek's got a 3rd nipple.
Wait, does
I know, but I'm just saying.
Watch for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the spear is his penis.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Sermon 14, go read it.
Yeah, Sermon 14 will make you be like, oh my, he is dirty.
50 Shades of Kim.
Is it Kim? I always thought it was Chim. Is it Kim?
Kim? I don't know, man.
I'm going to say it's Chim because now I can think
Isn't
of
it the Chimer? It's the Chimer, so wouldn't it be Kim? So
some say Chimer, some say Chimmer.
But the game calls him Chimer.
I'm going to go with Chimmer because Kime makes me think of like Kim Jong-il or Little Kim or Kim Kardashian.
I'm just saying the game says Chimer. So.
Hey, you know what? I don't need your lore Naziing on me right now. I'm feeling repressed. Anybody see this? I'm being repressed.
Repress him. Please
Just
repress
because
him.
some watery tots handing out swords from a lake is no basis for a government. Sorry. Monty Python. We love you.
Gotta love it.
All right. I do want to say, Ron, I'm just going to read this. He says, I swear to God, I thought for a moment he was about to wax into a commercial about medication. Ask your doctor about lore. Side effects include sweating, involuntary laughter, death, bleeding from all orifices, headache, and incontinence. Also, dry mouth. I don't know what that had to do with anything. I think it was something one of us was about to say, but I liked it so much I had to read it.
If you or a family member have been exposed to asbestos, you might be entitled to compensation.
Discontinued use of blood appears in urine.
Oh, boy.
Blood funds.
Oh, that was one of my favorite things from the old RoboCop movies when they did those commercials during the movie. Like they were great. That one was for it was like some sort of steroid or something like children's steroids.
Newcomb, get them before they get you.
That's right. You may remember me from such advertisements as. So all right. So we've got there's no dumb questions. All right, Sib, number 7. Hit 'em up, baby.
Oh, is that what we're on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side of 5, don't get butthurt if people don't take your advice.
Where did Hot Jessica come from?
That's right.
After all that it's their tune, not yours.
Actually, according to the lore, Christmas is 100% right. It is my tune cue.
my tune, I can throw that if I want to.
That's
No,
right.
That's
no.
right.
According to second edition rules,
No,
you
you're
clearly
ruining
have
my
to obey.
immersion right now, okay? This is ruining my immersion.
But it's
Also,
the rules.
no, let me get this straightened out. If no one yells at me for being an idiot in the beginning days of ESORP, I'm gonna continue on that path.
Right, and see, and there's
Yeah.
and there's the thing. Like, how did you go that long, Kishmis? All joking aside with your Fusro dying, how are you able to go that wrong without someone that knows the lore and is like, dude, like, that's a couple thousand years from now. There hasn't been a dragon or somebody that can do that quite some time.
Also, from what I did, is that I understood that the Greybeard still existed because Jurgen Windcaller, created the Greybeards in like the first era before the whole Red Mountain or something. So he created that, and I had my character be trained by them, but he only knew one word. And I did that for months, and no one gave a shit. I didn't, press it on people and say, yeah, I know this. Yeah.
Watch this.
Exactly. And he did use it in a fight once in an arena, and everyone was like, whoa, wow, I cannot believe that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. No one gave a shit. So I kept doing it.
So I'm guessing maybe you were in an area where they didn't know the lore any better than you do.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's what it sounds like. But and when you learned, you're like, God damn it. I lore Nazi'd myself. And apparently...
The effects
Sib,
of lore Nazi.
your sexy voice is exceptionally popular.
You might as well just keep talking like that.
Apparently, it's very sexy when you say butt hurt that way.
It is Hot Jessica.
That's right. Oh,
What do you mean? Butt hurt.
Oh, baby.
Dang it, man.
See, the thing is, outside of the show, I never hear that
Wait
voice.
till we get to number 8. Wait till we get to number 8. God dang it. I keep typing in the notes. I keep typing /E because I'm trying to, I'm in game, but I keep typing /E in our notes. I'm sorry.
Your guilty heart will tell on you, darling.
It does all the time.
It is Easter weekend. Repent, for he will rise from the grave. Also, there will be chocolate bunny eggs. I really don't understand the connection.
I don't either.
I don't either. I have no idea. But you know what? Fucking love chocolate bunny eggs. Especially when they got caramel in the middle.
I bet someone had rotten eggs and they're like, you know what? Let's go dye this shit and hide it somewhere. And someone found it on a tray. I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay,
And
I'm going
that's
to go
when the
into
tradition
something real
started.
quick on this. Kids these days, they don't know what they're missing. I'm just going to say it. Like, it's all plastic eggs with shit inside of it. In my day, for you youngins, we hard-boiled our eggs and we colored them on the counter. Often
And color
spilling
them, yes.
at least one of them and
we
staining
stain
everything.
the counter.
Permanently stained the
stain the
counter.
counter.
Me and Jazz were both like staining counters. Yeah, that's just
And
a
then
pain
you
in the
would
butt.
wake up on the magical morning of Easter Sunday, and there would be baskets. And because it was you and your sister, you would see a few eggs, then you would mark them mentally. Now, the fun part of this is after your parents got up and you got to hunt the eggs. I still love hard-boiled eggs to this day as long as there's enough salt on them. They're delicious. But the greatest part that kids these days will never know and never understand unless you have really good parents is the joy, the outright, unbridled joy of finding one of those hard-boiled eggs in the month of May.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because your parents fucking forgot where that sucker was hidden at and nobody could find it until May, until the living room was almost unbearable and had to be torn apart from head to toe. Kids these days just don't know how good they don't have it.
What is that wretched smell? I don't know. Let's go find it.
It's like a subtle burn to Kishmas.
Yeah, did you not ever have those? Was yours always plastic?
Nope.
Weird.
Burn avoided.
Wow. It's just sad.
That is very
It's
sad.
just-
I feel for you.
I
feel for you.
remember when they first started with the plastic eggs, and
They're not very
How-
environmentally friendly, by the way. They'll never biodegrade.
and I was fascinated by this. And my grandma, when we cleaned out her place back when she finally went into the home, there had to be 3,000 of those things.
Oh.
She had
Wow.
been gathering them. All of these plastic eggs with old candy still in them in this big bag. It was just full. I was like,
Yes.
what did she do? Go
Wow.
wander around and gather them? What the hell?
I like
Jazz, you're showing the crazy.
Ray and R in the chat. My favorite part was the little wax bottles with sugar water in them. I still love
yes.
those fucking things.
Yes.
Wax
Yes.
teeth that was like you would chew it like it was bubble gum, but that wasn't bubble gum.
It was awful.
It was awful.
But you chewed the crap
But
out of
you
that.
chewed it anyway.
Yeah.
So
The
happy
Peeps.
Easter, everybody. That has
I
nothing
miss
to do. Oh, Peeps are awful. Are you kidding me? Peeps are an abomination in the face of God. They're the devil's candy.
But see, you could take them and heat them up and put them in a s'mores because they're pretty much marshmallows.
They are
Listen,
marshmallows.
Sir Faye, you could take your Peeps and shove it.
That's right. The only thing
Dang.
I
It'd
do
be
is
soft.
I put Peeps in the microwave just to watch them explode.
Yeah, that's a fun thing to do. With
That
them,
actually
too.
is pretty fun.
Sometimes
You can have a lot of fun
sometimes when I
and
do that. I think, God, I wish that was me.
Yeah, but that's only on
firecrackers,
days when you have to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get to
Did I get
number
to read
8.
number 8?
Number 8. All right, let's hear what you got.
Ready? Are we ready?
Mhm.
Be open-minded, whether you're the lore Nazi or the one trying to figure out your character's role. Is that better? No.
Oh,
Silence. I killed it.
I don't want to say that
Dropped the mic and walked away.
I don't want to say that I'm super hard right now, but
Oh my god!
I knew Ashen would take the nerdy girl over the sexy girl. Knew it.
Dang, bro. Hot Jessica was just here and she left. And all right, enough
yeah,
said.
but I've seen enough 80 movies to know that this is going to turn out well for me in the end.
That is very true. Well played, sir.
But that is actually very true. You just got to be open-minded. Like with everything, you know, everybody's here to be creative, to have a good time, and if all you can do is stifle it with just nitpicking and just being a pain in everyone's ass, like it's, you know, and I've done it too. And there's been certain things like things set me off. You know, if somebody does something stupid that I'm like, that's just dumb. Why are you doing that? I may call them out on it, but there's also there's at times there's, and I'm not saying I always know the line, but there's times when somebody is willing to call somebody out on something to like bring it to their attention and then just trying to be an asshole about it, you know. Because there's been things people have done that I disagree with and I don't like the way that they do it. But a lot of people also aren't really big on conflict. Like, I don't have a problem with that anymore. I used to not like really like upsetting people. Now I don't upset people because I need other people's permission to be like, hey, by the way, I'm about to upset somebody. Is that all right with you? And they're like, well, we don't really want to go into it right now. I'm like, all right, well, I'll be quiet for your case, for your sake, not for theirs. I'm not bringing up any names, Jazz.
Uh-huh.
You notice that?
Yeah, I got that.
Mm-hmm. But no,
I would also like to add something.
you're always welcome.
One of the hardest things that I had to learn was that when somebody is completely out of look and I'm in the middle of a roleplay situation, unless it directly involved the guild or in some way was going to cause drama, I didn't say a damn thing. I found that it was easier for my character to quietly believe that they're just off their rocker. And they just believe that they're a half Ixar, half dark elf.
Play it off as though they're a nut job.
Right. And in my own head canon, that's what's going on in my head. Now, that person thinks that my character is friendly to them and accepts them and believes what they're saying. I don't have to create that confrontation and ruin the role play and the bar role play or whatever's going on around me to say in a tell, or even, and sadly too many people say it out loud, but even to send them a tell and say, you're out of lore, right? I don't even bother to do that. Somewhere along the lines of running Silver Circle, I realized it didn't matter. And I stopped even bothering to do that unless it was people applying to be in my guild. Barring that, I never brought it up. And I still do that. I still run into people all the time in this game, every game I've ever played, where you're like, what?
Yeah. And typically,
but you nod and smile and you don't say anything. Let them role play whatever they want. It's their money.
Yeah. And typically a lot of the stuff, when I bring it up, it's stuff, it's stuff that really could maybe go either way. I took it one way, maybe they understood another, and so I'm like, hey, it's not how I actually meant that kind of thing. When it comes to lore, of course, I'm totally different. I don't ever bash lore. You just don't bash people over the head with lore. When I first got into Servants, the guy that was then in charge of it is no longer around. Him and I went round and round because the things that had changed from the time I had been there before into the time now. He demanded I retroactively do that. And it's like, well, if that's the case, then I'm on level with you, buddy. And I don't know that and he really didn't like that kind of stuff. So I was trying to work with him, but everything I did, it was everything that person seemed to do was geared towards making sure that he stayed in power and he knew more than everybody else. And when when that's all you focus on, that doesn't work. You especially when you're in a leadership position, really you're at that point when you're an officer and stuff like that, we all have been there before except for maybe Sib, and that's typically because she just doesn't want to deal with that shit.
No, I don't.
But you kind of have to at times put you and your character second to everybody else in the guild. And that doesn't mean you completely, create everything for them, but sometimes you have to step back a little bit. Like Kishmas was saying last time when he leads stuff, that he will step back, even though his character would really take control of that. He lets them learn, and it's, he uses the excuse that, well, he's teaching them to be, better at what they do and giving them the experience. And that works. That's exactly, and that's perfectly fine.
And I hate it when people do not participate.
Yeah.
Participation is everything. You want your character to, if you have ambitions to advance in rank and you have that character development you want to do, participate. Don't stand back and let everyone do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one thing I've had to learn, because I'm a very passive player.
Of course.
I'm not like out there trying to get promotions or anything, which I will say it's different with the Servants. I have actually wanted to become the Ordinator.
At least Ordinator,
instead of the initiate or anything. But like the other night, whenever we did the, help me, where you were the prisoner.
Yeah, the prisoner thing.
Okay, there was so many people, and so everyone, and they're like, turn the cell over and look for stuff. Well, everyone started doing it, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because I'm just standing here.
Right.
So I was like, I just emoted, she started watching the other prisoners, keeping an eye on them while everybody was, checking everything out. So at least I'm participating, trying to be in there and be a part of it. Because it's sometimes hard, and it's easy to become that wallflower and just watch it go by.
Yep.
But I think it just helps enhance your experience if you will just take a little initiative and throw yourself in there.
And sometimes too, like what Kishmas was saying, like with that, other people are already doing stuff. So if you had been a wallflower, probably nobody would have really noticed. But the worst part is when nobody has started. You're like, all right, everybody, search the room. And 5 minutes go by and nobody's emoted anything.
That's the main thing
right. That's the worst, because what are you there for if you're not even gonna,
I have to say one thing too real quick. I got to raise my hand. I'm raising my hand so I can speak.
I got you. I see it.
Sib in the back.
Thanks,
yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks guys. But no, I will say too that whenever I did do that, Kishmas's character, or he was kind of DMing it with Evil.
DMing. Yep.
Yeah, and My character actually made one of the prisoners shit themselves.
That's true, you did.
It was so hilarious. And everybody's like, oh, the stink. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt really good because I did, even though I wasn't doing what everybody else was doing, I was still, attempting to be part of the role play. And I got rewarded. So I was all happy that my character was mean, which I don't play mean characters, but my character was mean.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I don't play mean characters. I just play characters that don't give a shit. And they come off as mean.
Right, because in this day and age, not actually caring about what, not walking on eggshells is mean.
Stop, you're hurting my feelings.
My tender bits. But one of those things I was going to ask, I know we're going to start wrapping it up here. When that happens, kids are like, search the room, and nobody does anything. Now, is that because they're not paying attention, or is it because people are now, sometimes they get shy and intimidated about being the first person to emote? They don't want to, some people are, it seems like you don't want to be like the look at me guy that everything is always about you, but some people seem to be so afraid of that they freeze into non-action altogether.
You don't have that problem in the servants. You do not have that problem.
Well, we have, though. That's the thing.
Well,
We haven't, but there's been times where he's done something and something like that, and like I'm the same way. I'm not an officer or anything like that, but I wait a little bit, give people a chance, and I'm like, is nobody gonna say anything?
There are some events, I'll admit, that I do not like, where there's combat, but there's no pre-combat round where us people who are leading the missions do not have the chance to command, and everything is turns into a madhouse because my character's name starts with an R, so he's not in the beginning of the
chain. I'm usually last being Tarvala.
Exactly. When your character's, well, please prepare your emotes before fighting. I'm like, well, that's not fair because everyone's going to start fighting. I'm in the middle of the group, and I can't give commands out,
Right. And I've started taking that because a lot of times when it comes to that, we do one thing, the things, but we can still say things and I've started trying to do that. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference, but I'm still going to keep doing it, hoping that one day it does. I'm going to keep that burning hope alive inside me.
Nope.
But all right. Well, I think that was good. Anybody got any final words? Anything you want to get out that you maybe didn't? I don't know. Maybe pay attention to the show and say something. Anybody?
Just be kind, ask questions, and seek out your friends before you seek out the trolls.
Yes.
Definitely. Very good.
And be open-minded, because if you're that...
And be kind and be open-minded. Yeah. Just
especially
remember that
if you're knowledgeable, especially. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Aretha. You got a little bit, let's see, more... She has a suggestion, more Sib reading things in a sexy voice. All right, well, we'll work out. Trust me, I'll write something next time and have her read it. I don't think it will be as sexy as you think it will be.
Right, about bowel movements or something.
Keep using that word.
Diary.
I don't think it means what you think it means. So, but no, go ahead, start our music here and start tuning this thing, shut this thing down. Just in kind of closing, just if you know the lore, don't beat people over the head with it. Try to be helpful. Try to let them know things. If you see something, send them a tell. You don't need to embarrass them in front of the entire guild or in.
Please don't do
OC.
that. It's so hard.
Send them a private tell. It's okay. And if they don't take it, wash your hands of them. You've tried your best. But if you know it and all you can do is constantly ridicule and bash them or say shitty things to them that, you don't know this or you don't know that, don't do that. You're just being an asshole, and it's like the old saying I've said before. If you do, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you eat nothing but assholes all day long, maybe you're the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that pretty much wraps us up for this episode, and I appreciate everybody listening to us at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, if you want, or follow, and if you want to, subscribe if you've got a Amazon Prime account. Of course, you can always contact us and follow along with everybody else at rpmmradio.com/Discord on our Discord server. We talk to you guys all week long. We love hearing from everybody.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun having everybody on there and the way the show's taken off, so that's always awesome. Of course, Twitter at RPMMORadio. You can always email us if you don't want to, or send us one of a tell on Discord at rpmmradio.com or rpmmradio@gmail.com. And we are on Facebook, of course, at the same thing, though that's not so much lately, but we still use it, and it still updates things. So, with that, I want to thank everybody on my crew, Jazz, Kishma, Sib, Strafe. I am, of course, Ash and Phoenix.
Night.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
And be sure to tune in next time when we find out why all Nazis are, in fact, Nazi spies.
And halflings.
They're just flat out Nazis.
And you won't see it coming.
You never... Nobody expects the Nazi halfling inquisition. Next time on RPMMO Radio.
That's us.
Good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions of RPMMO Radio and their crew are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.